What's going on, vapors? The Vaping Cowboy here. Today I'm starting a series on how to switch from ego style tanks stuff to more advanced stuff like variable voltage, variable wattage, RDAs, and stuff like that. This was a request from one of my subscribers, so I've narrowed it down to probably about 4 videos. It's going to cover, this video is going to cover transitioning from a tank to like RDAs, how to deal with airflow, stuff like that, and then other videos are going to be like how to transition from ego to more advanced stuff along those lines. And then third video is going to be about how to make coils, what you need when you're starting to get into RDAs, and building your own stuff that way, if that interests you. But I figure I should cover all the bases as well, just so it's out there. That way, if you know, a few years down the line, someone's just starting to get into vaping, and they decide that they want to try their hand into going another step up from an ego or vision spinner or whatever is going to be out there in 2 years from now, away from the beginner stuff all the way up to the more advanced stuff like that. This series is also going to show people that even though it can be a little scary at times, I know when I first started, especially when I was building my own coils, that I was a little hesitant, but I did go ahead and start doing it, and the more you do, easier it gets, the more confidence you build. You know, it's such with most things in life. So this is we'll just get started into this first part, and that's transitioning from a tank to an RDA. Okay, so like I said previously, sorry, that one of my subscribers wanted me to do a video because he thinks I would do a good job, and I try to do a good job in all my videos. I know I talk a lot. That's just something I do, especially if I'm passionate about it. I can talk and talk and talk, and there's times where I do get off subject, as if you've seen my other videos, I have a tendency to do that as well. But the talking part is, to me, is when I want to learn about something, I want to learn as much information as possible. Even stuff that might not even pertain to a certain information that I'm looking at, researching at that point. You know, I could take an example like with jobs. When I get a job, I want to know everything that I'm going to be doing, and then when I'm done learning that stuff, I want to learn other stuff, even though I'm not even remotely going to be doing that. But there could be a possibility, you know, such as advancement. And I take that philosophy along with a bunch of other things, like with vaping. You know, I read and I research, and when I find something that interests me, and I try to learn as much as possible. I mean, I have so much information up in my head that I'm trying to get it out to the viewers, to the subscribers, people that were in my shoes, you know, months ago, and you know, learn from my mistakes. That way you don't replicate the ones I did. I mean, making the mistakes along the process, it's just a fact of life, actually. You know, you gotta crawl before you can walk, you know, stuff like that. And I've crawled, I've stumbled, I've fallen, especially in this in the vaping world here, you know, with building coils and DIY and buying a mod. I thought that was what I'm gonna use for a year or 2 years, and then find out that it wasn't enough for what I like. So basically what I'll just go over is, we'll go over a few different tank setups, stuff that I had lying around, stuff that I've used when I first started, and then we'll just transition from there, and hopefully I answer questions that you do have, and if there's something I have not covered or you still have questions, feel free to submit a comment on this video. You can also contact me through YouTube as well, through private message, or you can also get a hold of me at TheVapingCowboy@gmail.com, and I will try to get to, it's a first come first served basis on that, and I will try to answer within a reasonable amount of time. I've been kind of busy lately, and also I'm going to be going back to college soon, so my time is going to be limited, but I will try my best to do what I can for you. So I'm going to show you a setup that I had when I first got into vaping. The second time. I've been in vaping twice. The first time was completely awful. I won't even go into that because it was many years ago, and the stuff that they had back then was just complete garbage. So the first setup I had here was an Ego. This is just a regular 900 mAh Ego style battery. It's got the it's got the threaded 510 connection. It's got the button, 5 times to turn it on, 5 times to turn it off, turn it on, and it does what it's designed to do. It gives you enough power to heat up, if you have a tank or a cartomizer. Like right here, I have an old blue e-cig cartomizer, and let's see, I haven't used this in quite a while, so I mean, that was fine when I first started, but the taste of these pre-made or pre-filled cartos is absolutely awful. I lost my train of thought because of the dog. So that's what I started with. I actually started with the blue e-cig, but I don't have that no more. I got rid of it, and then I went to the Ego style. I used that for, I don't know, about a month, and it just wasn't enough for me. So I moved up from there, and I moved up to, I bought a iTaste VTR back when they first came out, and I got a really good deal on it, and that came with the iClear 30X. Someone keeps texting me. Okay, sorry about that. So I got the the iClear 30S came with the VTR in a nice carrying case. Heavy duty mod. I mean, I've dropped that thing so many times, and any normal cheaper mod would have destroyed it completely. I mean, I even still use it. I use it at work. I mean, it's my go-to for when I'm working and stuff like that. Like if I'm out on break, and I'll use that. I do also bring my Sigili 100 watt. Just in case I need that extra added boost, but normally I don't, especially at work. I vape all the time, especially at home. Just chain vape. I vape all the time, but it's a lot better, in my opinion, and most other people out there. It's a lot better than cigarettes, and they taste a hell of a lot better too. You're not getting all the tar and the carcinogens, and I mean, it's a safer alternative. And and if you're watching this video, you already know that, so I'm just preaching to the choir here. But I moved up to this the iClear 30S, and they already have, I can't really take this all the way apart because there's still juice in this one, but they got these little inserts that you put in there that has the coil and already wicks, or it's wicked, and then you just put them in, pop a fresh one in, put the juice in there, let it wick up, and then you can vape on it. So that was my my first step up. And then I moved to cardos, just regular cardos. And I actually have an older one here, just a cardo. It's not punched, it's not slit. You just drop some drops in there of your e-liquid, and then you vape on it a few times. And you know, it's like dripping, but not really like dripping, if that makes any sense. And I used that, and it was okay. You know, I like the snap, crackle, and pop that these cardos make. It's just me, but and then it just wasn't enough. So I decided to try another tank, and I did get a hold of someone. I emailed someone who is pretty well known in the vaping industry, and they actually replied to me, and they said, well, if you like cardos, then give this a shot. So I went and searched, and I found a company, ibtank.com, and I bought a tank. I actually bought two of them. The other one's green, this one's blue. And they use these cardos inside. So you still get the cartomizer, but you have the tank around it, so you don't have to keep dripping. And then you can get pre-punched cardos, but I just buy them without the punches, and then I take my little Dremel tool and I make two big slits on each side. Make sure not to go too deep to damage the coil, and then the juice just flows in there. I mean, it's really nice. And but you know, after a while, it just wasn't enough for me. And I'm sure that some of you out there are experiencing that as well. So we'll go to the next step up that I personally did. I went with the step up of a tank, but a rebuildable. So I actually have the one that my wife has, because I had one. I gave that one away. The Typhoon GT, and this has the metal tank part instead of the Pyrex glass. I originally used the Pyrex glass in my first one, and it completely shattered. I picked it up and I was like, it looked like it's spiderwebbed, and then it just absolutely fell apart once I picked it up. So there's juice everywhere. Luckily it wasn't full, but yeah. Once that happened, I found that they had stainless steel ones on Fast Tech, ordered it, and it came within about a week, 10 days, somewhere around there. Normally Fast Tech is reasonable, especially being all the way over in China. As long as if you're buying stuff from them, as long as it's in stock and ready to ship right away, it doesn't take long. But you know, if you wait, like some things I've bought from them, I've had to wait up to 3 weeks. They'll get it. They'll say they'll have a expectation date for whatever they're getting in, and then when they get it in, if you're within that certain number of what they got in, then they'll go to processing, and then it processes for like 3-4 days, and then they say it ships, and then that takes another day or two, sometimes longer, depending. And then the next thing you know, it's at your doorstep, or it gets stuck in customs. Either way, it sucks. But yeah, that little $3 and something odd metal tank part, if you have a Typhoon GT, I recommend getting that. You don't have to worry about the cinnamons. You don't have to worry about the harsh liquids that are going to crack or break tanks. The only issue that you have is that you'll have to take the top off every once in a while to check, to make sure that your juice isn't running out. But the nice thing about the Typhoon is you can rebuild your own coils, so you can do whatever ohm that you want within reason. I mean, you don't want to go super sub ohm with them, and then your batteries can't handle it, and then it goes poof on you. Yeah, we don't want to see that. We have enough problems in the industry as of late. So, but that was my next step up, and it was okay for a while. And then I bought my first RDA. I actually do not have it here with me right now, but I bought an RDA. It had really small holes, really small holes on it, and just, you know, it was like a tank, but I was dripping, and I already had experience building coils, so that was just the next transition up. Now, in my personal opinion, that if you're going to step up from a tank to, say, an RDA or an RDTA, you know, a tank style, you should get one that has airflow options first and foremost. Price is up there too, but the thing with transitioning from a tank to an RDA or a tank that you rebuild is that what you're getting from something like this, you know, take flavor and taste out of the equation, is that tight draw. You're only going to get a little vapor. I mean, you see that vapor, and then we go to my RDA. I mean, you can tell the difference just right away, and it's, you know, it's something that takes a little bit of time to get used to the airflow. I mean, because you're used to the tight draw when you're with the starter tanks or the cartomizers like a Blue E-Cig or what have you. And if, you know, for the people that are wanting to transition up and move up so they can have the clouds, so they can have the tremendous amount of flavor that, I mean, it's like night and day when you go to something like this to something like this or something like this, you know, any number of options. Even when you go from the carto tank style to an RDA, it's just night and day, in my opinion. So, the basic things is, what you want to ask yourself is, why do you want to move up? Is it, do you want to start dripping? Do you want more flavor? Do you want more clouds? Do you want a little bit above? I mean, the world is open. I mean, this world of vaping, you can do whatever you want, you know, within reason. I mean, the limits are endless. It's just endless. So, I'm going to just take this Mutation X V3 that I just got in the mail yesterday, and I'm just going to give you an example of something that you could look at when you're trying to step up from a tank to an RDA. Now, this thing has lots of holes. It's got 9 on this side, 9 on that side, and wide open. It's very airy. Now, when you're transitioning from a tight draw, you know, a tight draw to something like this, or even on my Plume Veil with the Chuff Enough cap, I mean, you can hear the air just going through, and you know that helps with the vapor production as well. It's going to take some time to get used to it. So I recommend, if you're going to move up, obviously first and foremost you need to have a mod that will handle something like that. I mean, I wouldn't recommend getting an Ego and putting an RDA on it. I mean, you can do it, but what's the point? You know, it'd be like buying a brand new pickup and just staying on main roads. You know, especially if you like being out in the country like myself, or going fishing or whatnot. Imagine hauling a boat to the lake doing 30 miles an hour, and the boat is very very heavy, so it's very sluggish. You need a little more power. So, you know, that's my analogy for that anyway. So, obviously, you're going to want a better mod, better than an Ego. And that's, that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure other people out there view that as a priority as well. Now, you don't have to go with a box mod. You don't have to go with a variable voltage, variable wattage. You could do what I did after I got my first variable voltage, variable wattage device, my VTR. You can go with a mech mod. Now, mech mods are a little finicky at times. When you're getting into a mech mod, you know that you're going to have to fiddle around, with the battery rattle and making sure, when you're switching out atomizers on it, whether it's an RDA or a tank or whatever, you might have to adjust the screws, unless you have one of those nice ones that has like a spring-loaded pin. But I personally, I gravitate more towards the screw style ones, because then you can get them in there nice and tight, not too tight, but tight enough so you don't have the battery rattle, and you also don't have as much voltage drop. I've noticed that with the spring-loaded ones, you get more of a voltage drop. It could be just the way they make it. I don't know if it's the spring itself or not. I haven't tested it out myself, but you can just tell. At least I can. I have four. Yeah, I have four mech mods, and then I now only have two box mods. One of them's just variable wattage. The other one's variable voltage and variable wattage. So, like I said, first and foremost, you want a good power supply. You don't have to spend a lot of money, especially nowadays. They got stuff out there. You can buy a box mod that gives you 30 watts for like $30. That's $1 a watt, and that thing will last you forever. If you don't plan on going up, and up, you could get by with a 20 or 30 watt box mod, and that'll last you quite a while. With me, I noticed that when I first started out, I could only vape at 9 watts when I first started. And then eventually I wasn't getting that same sensation when I was vaping after a while, so then I had to bump it up. And then before I knew it, I was at 15 watts, and my VTR is already maxed out. So I had to get another mod. So that's when I bought a Hannah mod, authentic, and that went up to 30 watts. And then I sold that to a friend, because then the Sagili 100 watt came out, and I figured with the Sagili I can use it for quite a long time, and I probably won't even get way up in the 90s or even 100. I vaped on it and all that stuff, but I wouldn't vape on that all day. That's just crazy talk. But I'm roughly around between 50 and 60 watts on the Sagili. And then also depending on what kind of addy you have on there. Like my plume bale on here I have at 50 watts. Or between 50 and 58 watts on this. But say the Dark Horse clone that I have to vape that higher. I have to have higher wattage on that. I don't know if it's just the materials or the way that it's shaped and designed, but I noticed that when I'm vaping on the Dark Horse, I'm normally in 56 to up to 65 watts. If I really want that nice hit, is what you could say. So obviously I got off subject again about going from tank to RDA. So we did the power supply. I will cover transitioning from egos and all the other different kind of power supplies in another video. And now you're gonna need an RDA, whether it's a tank or just a regular RDA dripping. So you want something that has options, airflow options, precisely, just like I was stating with this Mutation X V3 by Indulgence. It's got plenty of airflow holes in it, and you can twist this cap and it's going to cut off holes, and one side will be open, so if you're in single coil mode or dual coil, you can adjust the airflow in there. You can have them completely cut off if you want. I wouldn't recommend that, but that would kind of defeats the purpose. But when you're first transitioning over from a tank to an RDA, you want something that you can customize with the airflow options. And I'm just giving you an example with this Mutation X V3. There are plenty of options out there for RDAs that have plenty of airflow options. You got your Dark Horse, you have your Plume Veil, the Mutation X. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You just have to find something that you're willing to pay for. You know, do research. That's one of the big things that I do, is I do a lot of research before I even decide to pull the trigger and buy something, because, you know, that's hard-earned money. I mean, it doesn't matter if it costs you $5 or if it costs you $200. Either way, you still had to work to make that to get that money. And you know, don't go after the craziest fad that's out there, because fads come and go. You know, if you spend $180 on an RDA and you absolutely don't like it, you're stuck with it unless you sell it. But then again, you're not going to get that $180 back. Most of my stuff that I have is, and I keep them. I got a collection of RDAs just stacked up in a bag, all clean and all that stuff. You know, I go back to them from time to time, but yeah, you want something that has the airflow options. That way you can adjust it for a tighter draw, and then when you start getting used to that, open it up a little bit more, and then you vape on that for a while, get used to it, and eventually you could be like me or a bunch of other people, and then you have to buy a big chuff enough cap to get even more airflow. I mean, I got the Plume Veil wide open along with the chuff enough cap, and you can just hear the airflow go through it. It's so good. So, power supply, RDA, plenty of airflow options. Those are your basic. Those are the basic things that you need. Besides that, you're gonna need equipment. You know, tools. You know, screwdrivers or drill bits, and scissors or clippers and snips, whatever, you know, whatever to cut. You're going to need Kanthal wire, and then you have to make a decision: do you want flat ribbon wire or do you want round Kanthal wire? You can go with nichrome. You can go with the regular Kanthal. Nichrome burns hotter, burns faster, and it's a lot more soft, from what I'm told. I've never worked with it. Don't even have the. You know, I guess I just never wanted to go down that road. There's people that say that there is a weird taste with the nichrome wire. I haven't experienced it myself, unless it was pre-made or in some tank that I had. I don't know. I guess I've never really paid attention to that. I just stick with the regular Kanthal. You know, you can get about 1,000,000 yards of Kanthal for like a penny. I mean, I'm over-exaggerating a lot, but it's fairly cheap. So instead of spending, you know, like with the Aspire here, the Aspire Nautilus, with those replacement heads, you know, you can buy a pack of 5 for, I don't know, $10-15. Well, if you buy an RDA Kanthal, you can buy 100 feet for $5-6, and that'll last you quite a long time. You can sit there and build coils till your fingers bleed, and you'll still have plenty left over. And then you also have to decide what kind of gauge you want. Beginners, I would recommend about 28 gauge. 28, 30 gauge, somewhere in there. Right now I'm at 24, 22 gauge, I don't remember. But and then you're also going to need equipment like a voltmeter or an ohm meter. That is a must when you're building coils, but I'll get all into that at another time. So we did the power supply, we did the RDA. Airflow options is an absolute must when you're in a transition. But I do recommend that when you are ready to make that step to move up, make sure that you keep your tank. You don't give it to someone right away, because if you go with something that doesn't have a lot of airflow options, you use it for a little bit and you'll be like, oh, it's just too airy for me, and then you just give up totally. No, that way you can go back to your tank setup and you can vape on that a while, and then you can go back, you know, switch them out, and then you'll eventually get used to it. I know it took me about 3 days to get used to the first RDA I bought, but that was just, the holes on it were too tiny and it wasn't adjustable. So I ended up drilling it out. And then I got used to that, and then drilled out some more. I mean, the hole is about, I don't know, about my pinky size, pinky tip big now. You know, my first RDA. I only paid like $8 for it, so I wasn't worried if I was going to mess it up. But it's kind of fun if you want to mess around. I don't recommend it, but you know, you can put some juice in there, and then you can, you know, if you did like I did. I drilled that big hole, and then I had it facing out, the hole facing out. So when I was vaping on it, I blew in instead of, and just a big steam cloud comes out. So I don't recommend it. I mean, I was just messing around, but you know, always practice safety when you're doing stuff like that, and you know, just have fun with it. I mean, that's the main thing, is to stay off the icky stickies and live a healthier alternative, healthier lifestyle. That way you're around for family and friends, and you can do whatever, you know. If you want to go back to college, go back to college. I'm going back to college. I'm proud of myself, thank you. But it's, you know, just have fun with it. That's my main thing, is, you know, the information. I love just soaking up information. A lot of information I have is useless too. But you never know. You could be listening to a radio when you're traveling across the country, and they're going to ask a question, and I might know it, and I might win something. So I got that to look forward to. So, like I said, you know, if you have any questions, something I didn't cover, send me a message, reply, comment, send me an email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And for me, I'm going to enjoy this White Label Juice Company Mountain Dew, the one that I had to steep for about a month. I'm trying to get rid of it so I can use the bottle for my DIY. You know, perfectly good bottle, don't want to waste it. Oh, another thing is when you're moving up in mods, they do have cutoffs just like the Ego style does. Like the wife's MVP Shine 2.0, 10-second cutoff. I do not think there is a cutoff on the Sagili. I have not come across it yet, and I've done 12, 15-second pulls off it. So, and then obviously mech mods, they don't have a cutoff either. You got to be careful with those, especially if it's in your pocket. Otherwise, your pants will get kind of warm. Might burn you a little bit, but That's why they have locking rings on those. But this is the Vaping Cowboy. This video was about transitioning from RDAs, or from tanks to RDAs, and then also how to deal with the airflow situation. I know people out there want to know, well, I'm using an Ego. What do you recommend? Well, it's kind of hard to say because everyone's different. But if you're just starting out and say you want a mech mod, I would say Fastech or Vaping Walrus or eCiggity.com. I haven't dealt with Angel Sig. They're a US company, but their prices are like Fastech. Vape101.com. I get stuff from them. That's actually where I got my Mutation X V3. Review on that will be coming up after a while. I haven't even used it yet, so as soon as I get done using it or use it for a while, then I'll do a full review on that. Yeah, like I said, just have fun. Oh, sorry, off track again. I have a tendency to do that. So what I would recommend to someone when they're just starting to move up, like I said, if you want to do a mech mod, you want to make sure that you get batteries that are going to support what you're vaping. If you're going sub-ohm, you really need to pay attention. You need to do your research on the batteries. I actually use EFES 35 amp batteries, which are not 35 amp continuous. That's just be aware of what it says on the battery itself. It's more than likely not continuous, so you need to get spec sheets on that stuff, and that stuff is online. You can ask on vaping forums. I would recommend Vaping Underground. Those guys are really helpful, very nice. I stay away from the ECF, but that's just personal preference for me. I won't get into that. I mean, I've never had any negative feelings or anything about that. It's just Vaping Underground seems more like a family than ECF. So yeah, you're gonna want, if you're gonna go with the mech, like I said, I started off, my first mech mod was a Nemesis clone from Fastech. Cost me like $12, 13 bucks. Thing worked really nice, except the top where the screw is and the Delrin insert is in the top of the 510 connection, it completely fell out one time. But I got a hold of Fastech, and they sent me a top and bottom firing button, all free. So that's what I would probably go with, because 13 bucks, you can't go wrong. I say you can't go wrong with $10 to $20, especially for a mod. The worst thing is it's paperweight. But the Nemesis clones, they last and last and last. At least mine does. My friend Teddy, he still has my Nemesis clone. He said he's going to give it back to me, but who knows? He's got the Hannah mod now, so he's all set. And then say you want to go with, say, variable voltage or variable wattage. My wife loves her MVP Shine 2.0. She got the one in green because that's her favorite color. They have a really good proven track record. Her battery life is still the same as the day she got it, and she's had it almost a year now. So you could go that route. That goes up to, I think that goes up to 11 watts, if I'm not mistaken. But they do have a new one out that goes up to 20 watts. The MVP has 20 watts. So I'd probably give that a shot, because with 11 you're kind of limited. But the price is going to be about 50 bucks for that. You could go with the E-Leaf iStick. That goes up to 30 watts. It's a very little device. I actually think it's kind of cute. But yeah, that's 30 watts. It's got the battery already in it, so you don't have to worry about buying a battery. You just, it's just like your Ego style battery. You could go with that. Just be forewarned that when you do buy that with the bigger tanks or bigger addies, it's going to be sticking off. But you know, if you're all about looks, then I probably would go that route. You could go, I mean, there's just so many options. You know, I went to the iTaste VTR and then I went to Hanomon, so I kind of spoiled myself on that one. If you're just looking for, you know, if you are dead set on, I'm gonna get a box mod, and I don't care about volts, I want just straight up wattage, I can't recommend Sigili more highly than I do. I mean, the one I got, when I got it pre-ordered, I got it for under $100. Now you can get it online for, I've seen it as low as $85. But the thing with that is 2 batteries, and so I bought three full sets, so 6 batteries total. I always have 2 sets charged and one in the mod. But you don't have to go with the 100 watt. 100 watt might be too much for you. You know, especially if you're kind of teetering on the edge. You know, just buy something that has a proven track record, has doesn't have that many problems with it. You know, read reviews, go to forums, ask questions. I mean, we're all here, we're going to answer questions. And then as far as RDA, I mean, I couldn't even begin to recommend something. I mean, the Plume Veil, excellent device. You know, mine's a clone. I got mine from my local vape shop, and they paid about 40 bucks for it, 35-40 bucks for it. But you can get them online, the clones, for even cheaper than that. So, you know, if you wanted to go with, say, the iSticky Leaf for $32, and then you go, say, with the Plume Veil, you get it online on sale or whatever, pay $25. I mean, you got about $60 invested, and you don't have to buy a battery. And I mean, you got enough power for what you need. So that would be my recommendation. You know, if I, like I said, if I failed to cover something that you want to know, and if I do know it, I will let you know. Otherwise, if I don't know, I will find out, because I'm all about soaking up information. So this is the Vaping Cowboy. Just make sure you're all staying safe. We'll see you again.